What we're trying to do with Resident Evil 6 is we're trying to really focus on the protagonists, the heroes, and their journey throughout the campaigns. And we have Leon, Chris, and Jake that do tell that story. And each of their campaigns stands on its own, and when you get to the end of it, they all have a conclusion. But when you get to the end of each of their campaigns, you might find that there's some unsolved mysteries, some things that we didn't answer through their individual stories. And that's where Ada comes in. Ada's campaign is able to tie all the threads in Resident Evil 6 together. She's able to answer the unsolved questions and show you what was going on more on the sidelines of the entire Resident Evil 6 storyline. Well, Ada Wong, as you know, is a world-renowned spy. So, and she's a very strong character. She appears in the other 3 campaigns at different points, and she's always shows her strength, and she's a very powerful character. So when trying to make her own campaign, we had to figure out, well, how do we incorporate the horror there? And as I said, she's working kind of behind the scenes, you know? There's always a secret in the background. There's always something going on that's behind the curtain, and Ada's job is to explore that. So it's that sense of unknown where the horror comes from. Well, actually, there are puzzle elements in all the campaigns, but we just really haven't focused on them yet. But I think with Ada's campaign, we kind of take it up to the next level. They're much more challenging. And personally speaking, I really like the puzzles we have in Ada's campaign. And if you're a fan of Resident Evil and you're a fan of solving those puzzles, you're going to love what we have in Ada's campaign. You're going to like those puzzles there. If you're new to the series, it may come as a bit of surprise. Like, wow, I kind of had the impression that Resident Evil was just kind of this action game. I didn't know I'd have to start thinking and using my brain to solve these puzzles. So I think that's something that fans who are new to the series will really enjoy. Okay, first of all, just Ada's campaign in and of itself, we wanted to have this single-player campaign, and I think that just because I wanted to have a classic Resident Evil play-by-yourself mode as well, because we have the co-op campaign for the other 3 characters, and if you play, say, Chris's story, he starts out with a group of soldiers, so each campaign offers a different taste, a different way to experience Resident Evil, and I think that's really the best thing about Resident Evil 6, that it offers all these different experiences in one package.
When
talking about Agent Hunt, literally you're hunting other players, the people playing as the protagonists in this game, and it's not really a versus mode in a traditional sense because you're going into the campaigns of other players, and as we've shown with the crossover feature in this game, the crossover feature allows you to see certain scenes from different points of view. The different protagonists in the game interact with each other and interact with the incident that's taking place in Resident Evil 6 in different ways. So we thought, well, wouldn't it be interesting if we could see this big incident in Resident Evil 6 from the point of view of some of the enemies in the game? And that's where the idea was born from. So we decided, well, let's let the players themselves play as some of these enemies. And then they can go into the campaigns of other players and try and attack them and interfere with their campaign. Well, I understand there were some issues with the demo in terms of camera problems and tearing and things like that. And those are things we are actually working on. We're trying to fine-tune them leading up to the game's release. So the problem is for people who experience something like just a demo or just at the trade show, they don't really get the full picture. We're trying to do a lot of new things with RE6, and we want to showcase those new elements, those things that we're trying to really take the series in a new direction with. And the problem is, with a demo, you're limited in what you can show. So we've only actually shown just the tip of the iceberg of what Resident Evil 6 has to offer. I think there's a whole lot more in this game. The scale is really larger than any other Resident Evil game we've made. So there's more to this game than what we've just shown in these little demos. And I think once people actually get their hands on it and get to play the full experience, they're going to realize this is the Resident Evil game that they wanted. This is what they wanted from Resident Evil 6. It's just when you have a limited space in the demo, you don't get to show all of the great things about the game.
みんなが思うコメントに関して。
And feedback regarding technical issues with the demos, that's stuff we're always aware of and we're always listening to. And so we're doing our best to try and fix the game and fine-tune it in ways that players will find acceptable. I think for people, especially the core fans who want a certain Resident Evil experience, I can guarantee they will get that with Resident Evil 6. We're trying to do something new here, but at the core of it, it's still a Resident Evil game. And once they really get their hands on it and get the full experience, like, I'm sure they're going to say, I truly believe they'll be like, okay, I see what you're trying to do here. I understand why this isn't just Resident Evil whatever. This is Resident Evil 6. This is the natural progression of the franchise. So it's all about really making sure the fans get their hands on it and then they can truly experience it for themselves.
レジェンドイーブル6はですね。
The game is Resident Evil 6. It'll be out on October 2nd, 2012, and it'll be available on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, and we are also working on a PC version of the game. So